maybe I don't have tubeless tires, which would make this video kind of dumb. Hey, vegan cyclists, we're talking about, Hey, vegan cyclists, we're talking about tubeless. Tubeless, bro. The future is now. All right, so first of all, I got these in a box. I took them out of a box. I read the paperwork, was super confused a little bit on how you can have a tire with no tube. Kind of just took a little minute to figure it all out and then tried to pump it up. Wasn't having much luck, so then I put some soap and water on the side, still couldn't pump it up, pumped really fast. Had no luck getting it. I could not get the tire to seal to the rim, and I realized I don't have tubeless tires. I just grabbed some tires from the garage, not tubeless. And so it wasn't gonna work. So I went to the store and I got actual tubeless ready tires. These ones that I'm running on here. And as soon as I got them, they went on super easy. I didn't need a compressor. Some people with certain rims and certain tires, I guess you need like a full-on tire compressor to actually get enough PSI to pop the bead. This I can do with a floor pump, no worries. So then I got it, take out the valve stem, put some sealant in, and then you're ready to go. Anything mountain bike related, you need tubeless because you're running super low PSI. You're running 20, 30 PSI or whatever that is in bars. If you hit a really sharp edge rock with such a low PSI, you're gonna get a pinch flat. So for mountain bikes, I can't imagine anyone would be running non-tubeless on mountain. But on the road, you don't necessarily run at 20 or 30 PSI. And you're not really running over sharp rocks. So what would be the major benefit, I guess, to running tubeless? That was my probably biggest question before going tubeless. For one, the thing is that I don't like flats. I don't want flats. I hate getting flats. I hate getting flats in a race, especially a road race that you drove 4 hours to go to, and then within the first mile you get a flat and there's your day. One of the biggest things for me is that 90% of the flats that you would get are gonna be repaired by the sealant as you go. And you just keep riding and the sealant seals it as you go. So it doesn't completely destroy your day. The other big benefit for me is that when I'm doing these adventure rides, when I'm going off-road and I am hitting these rocks and really kind of exploring nature, I'm so far away from civilization. I'm super far away from my wife. I'm super far away from cell service. And so the fact that I could reduce the chances of me getting just a whatever flat and then maybe not being able to repair it or getting two flats. Like if you got two flats and you only had one tube with you, I mean, I could be up some serious creek, you know what I mean, without a paddle for sure. And then just like, again, that peace of mind when you're riding off-road, that you're not having to feel like you're tiptoeing around with your bike. The other thing is that you can ride them at low PSI. I just went out, I was in Cayucas, I went out for a ride. I got 3 flats in the rear in 3 different spots. I ran through some glass. I didn't know it. I had my headphones in, right? And so I didn't hear it like pss, 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 pss. I didn't hear it. I just was listening to some good tunes. I finished the ride. I go to like feel the tire and it's decently soft. It's not super soft, like 20 PSI in a regular tubed wheel would be like, you could just smash it. This has 20 PSI in it. And I mean, this has 20 PSI and you can barely compress it. So I don't know why that is, but I rode a good like 40 miles with 20 PSI. I didn't know it, like I said, so I went to pump it up and I was like, what, how can I have rode 20 PSI? There's no way on a regular tubed wheel that you're gonna be able to do that. It's crazy. So I would say the huge benefits for what I've seen so far is like peace of mind, going and exploring, running over some serious roads on the road bike, and then just the fact that you're not having to deal with flats on a daily basis or like a monthly basis or whatever, and then the travel, going somewhere super far, even if you're gonna do a fondo, not even a race. Say you're gonna go travel to a fondo and you really wanna stay with the group, but then all of a sudden you get a flat right away, that's a bummer. So this is gonna stop a lot of that. Now, I would say they're a little heavier than maybe your like high-end super light race wheels. And can you hear the liquid? I don't know if it's just me, but I sort of feel like the wheel doesn't spin as good. It feels weird to me. It doesn't feel like it spins up as fast. And having a big tube of liquid in there kind of makes sort of sense, but maybe that's just in my head. All right, so my experience with these have been absolutely amazing. I will continue to race crits on my race wheels, but pretty much everything else, training and road races, I'm doing on tubeless because it's the future. It's insane. It's amazing. So I want to answer these questions that Stans had asked me. They said, in what city, state do you live? How old are you? Bass Lake, California. I'm 31. I'll be 32 in 2 days. Ugh. What misconceptions do you think people have about tubeless road setups? I don't know about your misconceptions, but my misconception was that for whatever reason, if you got a flat, that the sealant wouldn't repair, that it was just like such a nightmare to put a tube in and to change, and that like if there, for whatever reason, if you did have something that the sealant wouldn't conquer, it would be an absolute nightmare. That's not the case for me. I put a tube in this just to see. I mean, yeah, there's a little like liquid that kind of splashes around, but I don't know. My misconception was that there was huge downsides to tubeless. This setup with the Schwabi, is that the Schwabi tire with the Stans Avion ZTRs? No issues, man. What Stans no tubes road wheels are you currently riding, and what is your setup, tire choice, tire pressure? I just said that's the Schwabi Pro 1 tires. These tires are pretty expensive. They're like 80 bucks a pop. But I'm running the ZTR Avion CR. Maybe that's the Pro version. And then so I'll honestly ride at like 80 or 90 PSI as of where I was before, always running like 110, 120. And I think a couple different studies have come out to show it's not, the higher PSI doesn't mean you're going faster. It's kind of a weird, it makes sense so that the higher PSI creates a rougher ride, which then that feedback you interpret as speed, but it's not necessarily the case. So I run 80 to 90, but have ridden as low as 20. When did you switch to riding tubeless on the road? About 3 months ago, 4 months ago. It's been amazing. But yeah, I mean, I just started running them 3 months ago. And as of right now, we'll continue to run them again, pretty much always, other than in a crit. What advantages have you personally seen using tubeless on the road? Biggest advantage is you don't have to worry about flats. You don't have to think about flats. Chaz, a riding buddy, he also runs tubeless, and I mean, he says it's just so insane. His whole team has like kind of switched to tubeless because you get a flat, just keep riding. I was in Vegas to go ride with a bro, and 1 minute into the ride, I hear pss, 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 and I'm like, no, and I didn't have anything on me. I had nothing to repair it. I was like, this sucks, dude. Ride over, it's too late to go. I just kept riding, and then that was it. It fixed itself, and we did like a 40-mile awesome ride. And I didn't even think about it. And then that was that. So what are the benefits? To me is, dude, flats are like a thing of the past. Now, obviously, if you get a massive gash where sealant isn't going to be able to seal, like, okay, then there's an issue, but that's still an issue on a tubed wheel as well, right? So anyway, that's my experience. That's my thoughts on tubeless. Is tubeless the future for road cycling? Yes, absolutely, totally. Now, if I guess you are competing at the highest end level, and weight is you're coming down to the micrograms, then maybe not. But I think for 95% of cyclists that are just riding on the roads and not racing and just having a good time and not worrying about getting a 0.4 second increase on their hour time, tubeless is, I think the tubeless technology is now ready to be embraced on the road. And so until I see any major disadvantage, I guess a disadvantage would be that there's not a lot of tubeless ready tires. So when I was at the bike shop, the cheapest tubeless ready tire was $85. That's expensive. That's super expensive. And so, especially if you're then running tubeless off-road, you're gonna be tearing through those tires more. So I guess as the industry starts to make more, maybe that's just the bike shop. I don't know. That I guess is a downside, just not having a ton of options for rubber. Anyway, Tubeless, bro. Tubeless. Look into it, because if you don't like flats, hey, as always, vegan cyclist. Yeah.